Hi YouTube, it's Chris, K2CJB with K2CJB Radio. Welcome back to the channel. The Hamstick, great antenna, very useful, great in portable and mobile operations, very inexpensive. Compromise antenna, yes, but they do work well. I've had them installed in the back of my truck here for a number of years. I want to say about 6 or 7 years, maybe more. One for 20 meters and one for 40 meters. I've made dozens of contacts with them. They work great, but they have one failure point, at least in my experience. Let me show you what that is. This is one of my first Hamsticks. This is a 40 meter Hamstick. And I noticed one time that the receive signal was intermittent. So the first thing I checked was, of course, cabling and connections, and they were all good. Then I did an ohm meter check between the base and the stinger whip at the end. And I noticed that it was intermittent. So I looked around, I made sure all the connections were tight, they were. But then when I peeled back the heat shrink in the bottom, I noticed this. This is where the coil, the loading coil that's in the antenna, is soldered to the base. This connection fails. Now it's all calcified right now because I've had it out of the vehicle for a while, but it fails. I tried resoldering it back then. It kind of worked, but then it failed again. Now you may wonder, why did that happen? Well, I leave it installed on my truck. I have 2 stainless steel mounts here on the truck, and I just leave them on there. So as you're driving around, there's a lot of vibration on that antenna, and there's a lot of vibration on that solder joint. It's only solder holding it together. It failed. I also figured out that when you mount this antenna, if you screw it in, if you hold it here and monkey it down, you're actually torquing that connection a little bit too. So I changed the way I installed them. If I removed them for any reason, I had a little wrench that I would use to snug it down here. This was one of the fixes I did on a second 40 meter Hamstick that I purchased, and you'll see that this hose clamp is just kind of snugging the wire against the base. Clearly not the best solution, but it did work. So the time has come to retire the Hamsticks. I keep chasing this problem with it, and I get it. I'm probably using it in a way that's really not designed to be used. I mean, they work, but that solder joint is kind of a weakness in it. So I decided to upgrade the antenna. Now, I don't drive my vehicle all that much, maybe a half hour a day, so I couldn't justify in my mind purchasing a Tar Heel or some other screwdriver antenna with the associated controller and wiring that all up and making that work in my truck. That was a lot of money. Thanks to my aunt and uncle in California, they sent me a gift certificate to Ham Radio Outlet. And I used that to purchase 2 new monoband antennas. These were antennas I didn't even know were manufactured, but they have been around for a while. And today, we're going to install them and see how they work. What I found on the HRO website was that Diamond makes monoband mobile antennas. Never knew this. So I got a 20 meter and a 40 meter version. It's center loaded, and it also comes with an SO239 base. That's going to be the biggest part of this project. I'm going to start with the 40 meter whip first. The way it's packaged is they have the whip at the open end of the package. I don't want to pull this thing all out that way. I think I'm going to cut the package at the other end. I have to say, this is a really well manufactured product. It's highly polished. It's got a lot of heft to it. Here's the SO239 in the base, an antenna section here, the center loaded coil here, and then there's another whip that goes on the top. It comes, of course, with instructions and our favorite, the Allen key. You might be wondering what this is. Some time ago, when I first put these Hamsticks on, I had noticed that on the stud mount, snow would accumulate, which would basically be a water connection between the hot side of your antenna and the ground side of the mount. So I put this on there really to serve as kind of like an umbrella. That's all it's doing. So we have to remove all that. There is a stud mount underneath it. The stud mount has to be replaced, and I have to modify the mount to accept these SO239 feed-throughs. You might also be wondering why I have this coil here. This is a shunt coil, and I had seen on a couple of mobile installation YouTube videos, especially on like the 40 meter band, to install this simple coil at the base of your mobile antenna. What it does is it takes this, it reduces the amount of static buildup on the whip and brings it to ground. It did help with the SWR a little bit. I'll have to see if I need this again. Now we need to take this all apart. It's a lot of plumbing there, isn't there? Oh, damn. Here's my mount. Stainless steel, looks like it's in pretty good shape. I know it's sturdily mounted in the truck, I'm not worried about that. But here's the problem. This won't fit through that hole, so I have to enlarge this hole. This is stainless steel, so I'm going to use a step bit designed for stainless steel. I'll throw some oil on it, and we'll try to drill it out and enlarge the hole. Here's my step bit, and I'm going to go into 5/8. I need to drill a 5/8 hole. We're good to go. Let's install it. On this mount, there's a bunch of washers in here, but there's one thing missing. This lock washers, but I wanted to put something that might get a little more of a bite to hold this in place. So I have a package of star washers. Feels pretty tight. Well, let's check out the directions and see how to install this antenna. First step of the instructions is to take the top whip and temporarily set it into the main antenna with the set screw. The next step was to mount the antenna and check the SWR. They said it's tuned for the lower end of 40 meters, so there's a built-in SWR meter on my 7100. Let's see what we get.
Very good, yeah. The rocket made the story.
Sounds like it's listening all right. Let's see how the SWR looks. Okay, it's out of band. So we have to make this antenna a tad shorter. It says if the frequency is lower than the desired frequency, meaning it's resonant at a lower frequency, you have to cut the whip. 20 kilohertz per centimeter. Let's see how much I have to lob off. I took off about 1 inch, so let's see what we get. Okay, moved up. I'm feeling kind of brave. I'm gonna tune up a little higher and see where I'm at. All right. I think one more cut will do the trick. I forgot to mention earlier that this antenna is a fold down, so you loosen this lock nut here. I'm going to need 2 hands to do this. So when you loosen this, the whole antenna can be lowered. Let's see what we get now, tuned a little further up. I did not go a little too far because the whip is all the way bottomed out, so I can pull that out a touch, and I think I'll be right where I want to be. One final check on 40 meters. That's about 2 to 1 there. So yeah, that's not bad. I don't usually operate much higher than that, but I think that'll be okay. It's kind of a tight cue, but I think it'll be okay. Now we'll rinse and repeat for the 20 meter side. Somewhere in the center of the phone band on 20. Let's see how it works. I think I want to make it a touch longer. Okay, I pulled it out a little bit more, maybe about 3/8 of an inch. Let's see what we get now. Well, you know what? That is good enough for me. Here's the finished project. Both antennas mounted. They stand a little bit taller than the Hamsticks did. Just a little bit, a couple of inches, not a whole lot. There you have it. Project's done. The Diamond HF20CL and HF40CL. Monoband mobile antennas. They're a little bit more money, probably about twice the price of the Hamsticks, but the way they're built, I think they're a lot better. I'd love to have given you a demo. Problem is the bands are dead today. I mean, dead. I tuned around both bands, nothing. I mean, the antenna worked. I did hear signals, but certainly nothing I was gonna try to make a contact with sitting in a driveway on a mobile whip. So we will do some more with it in the future to see how the antennas really perform. My goal for field day this year is to use these antennas and do a mobile field day operation. That should be kind of fun. Here's a few notes about the antennas. They're built really well, as one would come to expect out of Diamond antennas. Instructions are very, very simple. I can't make it easier than that. I will tell you to cut that whip It's a very hard metal, okay? You're not gonna cut it with a pair of hand cutters, trust me. I found out. What I used was a bandsaw. Took a little bit of time, take it easy, don't burn things, that kind of thing. But I used the bandsaw and it cut the one whip. Had to sand it, cool it a little bit, sand it, and then I could install it. Second thing is kind of an oh-no for Diamond, is that one of the set screws is missing. So I'm gonna have to see if I can find one. I don't know if the ones in the Hamsticks fit, they might. To me, that's not a big deal. So have you even heard of these antennas? I hadn't until recently. Do you have one? How did it work for you? How did you install it? Now you might be asking too, well, why didn't I use like a post hole stake or something like that? Well, I've got a tonneau cover on my truck, so all the post holes are covered. These mounts I already had installed on the truck, and if you look way back in my videos, you'll see when I first installed them. So all the wiring, the mount was all there. All I had to do was modify the mount to receive the SO239 feature. I hope you found this informative, and if you're considering these antennas, let me know how it works out for you. So until the next time, 73 from K2CJB.